Scholastic Audio presents Playing the Cards You're Dealt by Varian Johnson. Read by Dion Graham. If you haven't figured out by now, Ant's father was big time into card games. He could play almost any game, but his favorites were tonk and spades and bid whist. Games that he learned to play from his pop. Games that he taught to his own two kids, Ant and Aaron. In fact, it was a Joplin Man tradition to play in the Oak Grove Spades tournament and win. Aaron had already proven his worth, winning the teen tournament twice in a row. Ant had competed last year as well in the junior division, but unlike Aaron's, Ant's results were, well, let's just say they were less than satisfactory. Ant had felt so bad, he hadn't even stuck around to see his brother win. And the oversized grin on his daddy's face when Aaron came waltzing into the house carrying that big old trophy was enough to break Ant's little heart. His father hadn't looked at Ant like that once during his games. But a year had passed. Ant was older, smarter, and just plain better. And now it was time for him to make up for past shortcomings. Plus, since his brother wouldn't be home from boarding school to compete in this year's tournament, it was all on Ant to uphold the family legacy, to raise that trophy over his head while everyone clapped and cheered. That's why he wanted to get to school early. The tournament was in 2 weeks, the Saturday before Labor Day, and he needed to get in as much practice as he could. Ant scarfed down his breakfast, char and all, then jumped up from the table. "Done," he smiled at his mother. "Ma, I'm not sure if we'll have time for all those pictures this morning. Still angling to get out of us walking with you, huh?" she said. "Or are you just trying to leave before I ask you about that deck of cards in your backpack?" Now, for a 10-year-old, young Anthony was a skilled bluffer, cool as the fur on a polar bear's bottom. Ant could have lied about those cards tucked away in his backpack without breaking a sweat. But there was another old saying that Roland had taught both of his kids, wisdom passed down from his own pop. In the immortal words of the patron saint of card players, Kenny Rogers, also known as the Gambler, "You've got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em." Ant fished the deck of cards out of his bag and handed them to his father. They weren't just any cards, but unicycles, the only cards that a true spades player used. The deck was old, but the cards were still crisp enough to make a solid thwap when slapped on the table. Ant watched his father cut the cards with one hand. Ant had been practicing, but his fingers weren't long enough for that yet. The size of his hands, like the rest of his body, seemed to be lagging behind everyone else in his grade. "I was thinking about asking Jamal to come over after school so we can get some more practice in," Ant said. "Is that okay?" "Okay? That's exactly what you should be doing." His father made another one-handed cut. "We'll play when I get home. Me and your mama against you two knuckleheads. If my meeting goes well, I should be home by 4 at the latest." He leaned close to Ant and whispered, "This year, you're going to slaughter the competition. I know it. Just got to toughen you up a little more." Even though Ant kept right on grinning, his insides curled into a tight ball. "Thanks, Dad. You know, you could just play for fun," Ant's mother said lightly as she walked over and took the cards from her husband. "Both of y'all can have these back this afternoon." She checked the clock. "All right, let's get a move on. Gwendolyn is only covering me for a few hours." Roland's megawatt smile faded. "Oh, that's why you're still here. I thought that maybe you decided to go back to working your regular shift. They must be paying you a lot more money to be such an early riser." "You know me. I like being up before everyone else." Then she kept right on talking, like a fire hose with a broken nozzle, trying her best to blast past Roland's sour look. "Okay, Anthony, or should I say, Mr. Big-Time Fifth Grader, I suppose you're old enough to walk to school by yourself on the first day. As soon as I get some pictures." Ant groaned. "Just a few, sweetie, I promise. Now where did I put that phone?" Ant looked at his father. "A little help here?" Roland was still frowning, still sour. Dad. Roland blinked. Huh? What was that? Can you tell Ma I'm too old for pictures? Roland chuckled, and just like that, the moodiness was gone. You want some advice, Aunt? He cleared his throat, then started to sing, You gotta know when to hold 'em. Aunt covered his ears. Dad, know when to fold 'em. You're supposed to be on my side, Aunt pleaded. His father stopped singing long enough to shoot Aunt an amused grin. Then he turned toward his wife. Your phone's in the bedroom, honey. I'll grab it. He rose from the table. And Aunt, don't you know? A spades player always backs up his partner. Yet another old saying. His father headed down the hallway, swaying back and forth, singing all the way to his room. Know when to walk away, know when to run.